Welcome to Daddy's Podcast.
This is the Redefining Plastics Podcast.
Welcome to the Redefining Plastics Podcast. My name is Samantha Ryan, and I am here with my co-host, Justin Riney. Today, we are going to be discussing demand to make recycling work. We're going to do it a little different today, just me and Justin kind of spitballing back and forth and seeing what we get out of it. But to start off the episode, I don't know if any of our viewers saw, or if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, I put out a post just asking maybe what you wanted to hear about or things we should discuss. And then I made a little joke about Taylor Swift. And some people really liked it, and some people didn't like that I wasn't talking about plastics for my entire life. So I'm back to not talk about plastics, but also talk about plastics by making a fun game. So we're gonna, at the beginning of every episode, probably when we have guests also, just to keep it fun.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I'm gonna do 2 truths and a lie, but it's not only gonna be plastics based. The one today will have, I did a pop culture, a plastic, and just general news. So how the game works, I tell you 3 facts. 2 of them are true, 1 of them is a lie. And we're not going to tell you the answer until the end of the episode, so you can spend the whole time not listening to us and thinking which one's the lie.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
So, this is our first one, so maybe some feedback would be good.
And we need some theme music rolling in now.
Okay.
Maybe a fancy video intro. Maybe I'll do that.
Okay. So, the first fact I'm going to tell you is Lego recently announced that they're ditching their recycled PET brick prototype, saying it actually had a higher carbon footprint than their current oil-based ABS bricks.
That's true.
Okay, well, we're not going until the end.
Can I play, or is it everybody else?
No, you can play.
Okay.
Oh, you're
All right.
guessing, I guess, too. Beyonce just became the first female artist to have a #1 album in the U.S. in 5 consecutive decades, from the 90s through the 2020s. And then lastly, NASA recently confirmed that asteroid Bennu contains high concentrations of gold, making it one of the most valuable space samples ever collected.
Are we going to do Armageddon, but not to save the world, but just go up there and take all the gold? I think that would be incredible. Also,
yes,
the whole Beyonce thing's kind of breaking my brain. 5 decades?
So she became the first female artist to have a #1 album in the U.S. for 5 decades.
So she must have started in 99. And
well,
then,
it says from the 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess they just wanted
That
to
just,
sound
she
better.
doesn't seem like she's that old, though. It's
She's
5
old.
decades, 50 years. I think
Wasn't
she's my
she
age.
Was she in a group?
Yeah. You don't know what group she was in?
No, I do.
Please tell me you don't know what group Beyonce was
Was it
in
Destiny's
before.
Child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even I knew that, and I don't know a damn thing about pop
I don't
culture.
listen to Beyonce, so I don't even know if that's true or not, honestly. I don't care.
So,
so at
my
the
guess
end-
it's the gold, but I have no clue.
Okay. Well, me neither.
The 5 decades thing's kind of breaking my brain, though. That might not be it either. And I don't really like her music, but that's just me.
And I think the ones when they're not true, I don't think it's as silly as no, it was 4 decades. You know,
That's true.
it's not.
We got you on a technicality.
Yeah, it's not going to be a technicality lie. It's just going to be straight up not true.
Yeah. So as Sam mentioned, great work on the post, by the way, is I think we talked, and when I tried to do the same thing, I did a poll and I got 2 responses.
Which is so funny because clicking a button is so much easier than commenting an idea.
Nobody cared what I had to say, but as soon as Sam says something, everybody's like, oh, I need to interact. I'm going to put 15 responses on here.
It got a little controversial there in the comments.
I know, it did. And
which I love.
One gentleman in particular
spice.
had opinions about whether or not we need to be talking about plastics and who I need to be talking to. So I'm self-described plastics recycling expert that I'd never heard of before. But regardless, we did take a couple out of there, so we appreciate everybody's feedback. on the post, but the one that we decided to go with today, because we had a pre-call, was it last week? My days are all melding together at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week's taking forever.
So we decided we're going to go with demand for PCR, demand for recycled content. How do we solve for that side of the equation? And because everybody thinks that if we collect it, it's going to find a home. It's just like EPR is, hey, we're going to collect more and more and more recycled content. That's good, right? But where's it all going to go? And we're not talking just plastics either. We're talking, where's all the glass going to go? Is it all going to go to asphalt? Where's all the paper going to go? Because twice the amount of paper goes to the landfill every year. Not bashing paper. There's just more of it. And we want to recycle more of it. We want to recycle more of all materials. But we need some sort of a market stimulus in order for it to work. And so it's kind of where we wanted to run with it. So we talked, I guess it was just I talked to Greg at Triton last week, and he's going to be this coming week's podcast guest. And he was talking about the paper recycling industry a couple years ago, probably decades ago, when he first started back in the industry, probably late 90s, early 2000s. He was talking about they had 25-year contracts for all of the paper. And that made it so his company went out and searched for new volume. So how do we do that in plastics? So I guess the conversation then becomes, how do we solve for that? How do we get more people to buy recycled content material? And right now, the big issue is everybody says inflation. I think it's an excuse for a lot of these big brands. They're just saying, oh, costs are up, nobody wants to pay more. But really, I think they just want the margin, if we're being honest. And they don't want to give up any of their margin by making the right choice and supporting recycling in the U.S.
Well, I feel like there's with bigger corporations, and again, I am so new to this that maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but there's always somewhere else they can get it, no?
No.
So
Import.
It's like, right, like they don't need, it's not like it's their loss.
Yeah.
Like it's always,
you can import recycled.
They're going to be fine no matter what, so they don't really care, like, if...
For those people that are listening to this and not seeing this, I am using air quotes when I say recycled content material from Asia, because I got questions whether or not that stuff's actually PCR or if it's just stated as PCR. But that stuff you can get for cheaper than pretty much anything delivered into the U.S. right now. You can get it all day long, cheaper than virgin, cheaper than off-grade material. And then that just squeezes out the local recycler. Right. So we need to figure this out. Like, how do we make it so when we're in these bad markets like we're in right now, recyclers survive? Because if you look, I don't know if you've seen all of these stories about like 6 or 7 recycling plants in Europe have closed this year already because of where the market's at.
I feel like, I don't know if this is, but a plant that I recently visited, it wasn't a recycling plant, it was a manufacturing plant, and they were buying recycled plastic. But how you mentioned a contract, they did have a contract, but it wasn't with a recycler. It was basically with another manufacturing company and their malfunctioned product.
Okay.
So like they were recycling their product. It wasn't water bottles, but pretend it's water bottles that came out dented or melted wrong, which makes sense because it's pretty consistent. Like they're going to get the same thing every time. And what they were making was colored. So they were like, we don't even care what color the malfunctions are because it will take any color. But I feel like that's really works well for them. But then it's kind of like they don't really need to buy from anywhere else because then they have this contract already with a manufacturer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's
and
kind
that's
of like
post-industrial too.
Right. But then it's kind of like that's kind of cutting out the actual recycled. I I mean, regardless, it's getting recycled at the end of the day, but it's kind of cutting out the actual recycled products that need to be, kind of just feels like it's circling around, which is great for them. But then it's also like the people or the plants that actually have recycled the same material work just fine, but they're like, we already have this great setup. Like, we don't need, you know what I mean? Maybe that's irrelevant, but I feel like
That's not.
that's kind of like, when I was there, I was kind of like, oh, they got this great, like I saw like the big gaylords of water bottles, and I was like, dang, like you just got these coming in and you don't even have to think about like sourcing from anywhere else because it's working for them, it's working for you. I'm sure you get the same price all the time. Like you just pay the same, charge the same, and then it's
And
circulating.
There's nothing wrong
Mm-hmm.
with doing it that way.
Right.
But for people that are making it their livelihood
Mm-hmm.
to recycle
Yeah.
plastics, like DP, for an example,
Mm-hmm.
so direct polymers, all of those people are working every day to make that recycled product. And if there's not somebody at the end that's going to pay a fair market price for that, they're not going to make it. And then that's the issue right now. I think it's definitely way more complicated than just say, hey, we're going to produce it. You got to buy it. It's like, well, it's got to be the right quality. It's got to be the right material.
I guess finding a buyer. That's I've seen that too, is like it's not exactly what they need too. So it's like just even finding people to take it off your hands is hard.
Yeah. And I've seen personally,
I've had trouble.
like I've had projects that I've worked on for multiple years that as soon as the market drops, they stop buying it because they can get other material cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
These are same companies and brands that have come out and said sustainability is important to us. We're going to have 25% recycled content. We're going to do all this stuff. But as soon as the market turns, crickets, they're gone. And that's the real issue here, is because certain people are saying that they're committed and they're saying that they want to make recycling in America work. But as soon as the market turns, they're the first people gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I think, one of the biggest issues. So I was at a recycling conference in Cincinnati probably 3 weeks ago now, where I was speaking. And Steve Alexander, the head of the Association of Plastic Recyclers, was up there, and he was talking about demand being the biggest problem for plastic recyclers in the U.S. right now. And if there isn't significant change, more people are going to go out of business. I thought it was kind of interesting timing because like 4 or 5 days later, our Planet Earth, which is one of the biggest PET recyclers in California, shut down because they just didn't have demand. So I think there's something has to be done where people are actually going to have to step up and do what they say they're going to do. Otherwise, we can collect as much recycled content as we want in California. None of it's going to get recycled if people aren't going to buy it back.
Right.
And that's kind of where it's at right now. I've said it a couple times. I think extended producer responsibility, EPR, solves for the wrong side of the equation over and over again. I think we have enough collection of plastics right now. Let's just put it this way. For what's being sold, we have enough collection of plastics right now. We need more collection of plastics, but first, we need people to actually buy what's being collected. And that's the key, is right now, people are just saying, well, if we just put in a new MRF, another recovery facility, that's just more plastics that are going to get recycled. No, that's only half the equation. Or more paper that's going to get recycled. No, you need people that are actually going to buy it back and commit to buying it back long term. That way people want to put their money into new investments, new lines, new relationships. But nobody's going to do any of that if they don't know they're going to be able to sell it.
Also thinking back now is that I feel like a lot of, just because of the problem, like they're getting so much, they don't even have room anymore.
Yeah.
Like in some of their facilities. So like that could, like it almost kind of like causes that issue. It's like, or things are sitting for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you, like I said, I get it. Like things happen and it's not abnormal to like have trash. Like it's not like crazy, but it is like, it's almost like how many things can we focus on at once when it's like now we don't even have, like I don't know how, maybe you can answer this. Like, I don't know how common it is to literally be like, we don't have room on, I've heard from some, like, we don't have room on the floor. And then I'm kind of like,
It's never a good sign.
yeah, that's what I figured. Because I've heard that, not a lot, but I've heard it when I would be like, oh, can we deliver this or this? And they're like, we don't have room for it. And I'm like, you don't have room for like
Yeah.
a load?
Either they did a really bad job of planning out that facility.
Right.
They're ramping up for a customer.
Yeah.
Which ramping up for a customer, that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, like they need the space, but
Yeah.
I never obviously, like, I'm just like, okay, like, when can you
Yeah.
take it? Because it's not really my business. / I don't have, like, it leaves my brain 5 seconds after I read it. But I never asked about, like, I never really asked anybody about that because I was just like, I don't know, like, maybe they do have a smaller facility and they, you know, they don't take in as much, or they have to literally work on like one in, one out, one in, one out. But it did shock me kind of now that we're talking about this. I'm like, wow, you really had no space on the floor. Like, you can't get rid of. And I don't think that's a norm for who I was talking to because I only heard it like twice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never been to their facility, but
I think it happens whenever there's a downturn like this. People will have difficulty moving product. And then you'll see situations where they've got more finished goods than they can sell over a certain time frame.
okay.
And then the cost, the market goes down. So they've got high cost material and inventory that they're trying to sell into a market. So it's always a loss. So you're replacing with, so you're just continually losing money, which is why a lot of people don't like sitting on inventory, but certain customers you have to.
Yeah. And I've seen some yards, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even in there. And
Just
I'm like,
junk
It's
everywhere.
like stressed me out, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even ours. And I was like, "What are you?" Like, it was outside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's sitting and getting wet and like gross. And I'm like, "What
Welcome
are you
to
gonna?"
recycling.
Right, like I said, guys, like, give me a break. This is only my first year, so this is all kind of new, which is why like a lot of this will probably be questions as well because I've heard that like the market is so bad, but this is like my first year. And like I would say like fine.
Yeah, direct
I'm like, I
polymers
can't
is
even,
doing
like,
fine.
Well, or Brave
Yeah.
usually. Like, but then I'm
Well, because you guys are doing something different than
I'm more so
everybody else.
referring to Brave.
Yeah.
I mean, direct polymers doing fine, but when I say we're like, but then again, I'm like, are we? Because I've never.
No, you are.
Because like I'm
I
like,
think,
what is it like when the market is good? Do you know what I like?
Yeah.
I've never.
So just to give you an example, the most recent numbers I heard for bales of polypropylene out of a MRF, just open market, 0.5 cents a pound, either a penny to a 0.5 cents, which means that MRF is losing money on every pound of material that they ship out because that MRF has operating costs, capital costs, working capital. They've got all that stuff. Typically, that stuff trades in the 20s to maybe mid 20s. So that shows you how far down it is. And then,
half a penny.
so
Mid
let's just,
20s to half a penny.
yeah.
That
So let's
big?
just play a game here. If you buy this raw material at 0.5 penny, and then you got 5 cents in freight, so you're at 5.5 cents freight delivered to direct polymers. We're just going to use it as an example. You got another 5 cents minimum in grinding.
Right.
So you're up to 10.5 cents. And then you got packaging. So you probably got another 2 to 3 cents. So you're up to 12 or 13. And then you got freight to the customer. So you're probably getting closer to 20 cents here. And then you've got all of the other costs that go into that. And then you've got wide spec resin selling in the 30s to 40s. So you're competing with recycled content with just dirt price material, like material that's almost virgin, that's almost as cheap as free feedstock recycled content, because free 0.5 cent, whatever, it's still really low. But there's just no way that somebody, let's say I had $100 million, and I am really focused on building a new recycling facility because that's my passion. And then I look at the market dynamics and the fundamentals and say, hell no, I'm not putting my $100 million
Right.
into that because there's nobody that's committing unless I could get a brand that says, I'm going to buy 100% of what you're buying or what you sell and what you make. We'll buy it all today and we'll buy it for the next 10 years at a price that's going to get it so you can reinvest and you can continue operations. Until we get that, nobody's going to invest more money in this. It would have to be legislation or subsidies or something to keep the market going. When really, if the brands actually just stepped up and said, we're going to buy it regardless of what the cost is for everything else. Because inflation be damned, packaging right now is dirt cheap because all of the feedstock costs for everything is cheap. So anybody that says, well, we got to save money for inflation, like packaging is such a small part of your product. And on top of that, all packaging materials are cheap. So that's not the issue. So what's really stopping you from doing this? That's the whole crux of the argument. Like why can't people do that? Like they did in the paper industry back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
Do you think that they prefer not having so many different streams?
It's easier not to run post-consumer. It's so much easier not to use recycled content.
Yeah.
Because if you buy in virgin or even wide spec, you have a pretty good idea what it's going to be and it's consistent. And a lot of these plants for packaging specifically are high volume, high throughput. So the more consistent the material is, the more product you get out. And you're playing a very small margin game in packaging, but you're getting it on quantity, like the amount of packages you make. So the more consistent it is, the more throughput you get, the more money you're making. So if you add recycled content in, it
right,
kind of does the opposite.
Interesting.
So there are arguments to be made that we're trying to, like another thing Greg said on the most recent episode that's coming out, by the time this publishes, it will already be out. He talked about how trying to shove recycled content material into packaging is a bad idea. And I tend to believe that that's right because we're trying to make recycled content work in the same way that virgin works for these high throughput applications. And it's just never going to do that. It can't do that. It's not going to be as consistent. It's not going to be as clean.
Right. So
we should put it in other applications because we need to find applications because we got to do something with this material. I don't want it to end up in a landfill. That's the exact opposite of what I want.
Because that's the only thing that really comes to mind, I feel like, is when you have contracts with certain or facilities or recyclers, it's like you're kind of constantly getting the same stuff.
Yeah.
And it's consistent. So maybe that's why, like, I don't know. I feel like with big brands, it's kind of a selfish game a little bit.
It is.
It's like they're going to make money no matter what. So like if something works for them and it's easy for them to get and it's consistent, the price is right, the supplier is like, yeah, this works. Like at least we have somebody taking it.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of like, well, why? Like, why would we change it? You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like, I mean, that's what comes to mind for me when it's because it's funny, like we're literally talking about the why, but I keep finding myself being like, yeah, why aren't they buying it? I'm like, that's what and I don't know. Like I keep trying to give like, I guess that's the point of the conversation, but I don't know, it's interesting to think about because it is kind of like, because being a big brand, it's just kind of like I don't know if it's a selfish game, but it's kind of like a fend for one.
You've got to look out for your investors. So if you're a public company, you have a fiduciary, there's your word of the day, responsibility to take care of your, so just, you have to make good financial decisions in order to make sure that you give a return to the people that own your company. So I get that. I get that you're incentivized to drive the highest margin that you can. But if that's the case, you can't be out there saying, we're going to have 25% recycled content. We're going to buy every pound of PCR. And then as soon as PCR becomes more expensive or significantly more expensive than what you can buy virgin costs at, then you go away. You can't have it both ways. You can't state to the world that you're going to do PCR, and then as soon as the market turns, you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
That's hypocrisy of the highest order.
Yeah, but
and
do
that drives
they
me
care?
insane. What was that?
Do they care?
No.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think that, like, no.
They want people
you
to think they
can't.
care.
Like, no, you can't do that. You can't. But, like, you can.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
really can.
right, but, like, you can do that. And,
You
like,
can eat the margin. You can
right.
eat the couple pennies here and there if you truly believe in this.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, I agree. But I'm just saying, like, you can't do that. You can't say that. Like, they can, and they are. And because they know that, like, they're on top anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this reminds me of, like, the conversation we had about, oh, shoot. It was kind of like if, it was companies maybe lying about, like, is it
Greenwashing.
recycled? Yeah. That's kind of reminding me of that because they're going to say whatever they want. But, like, who's going to come out and be like, what one person in their multi-billion-dollar companies and be like, oh, you're lying. They're going to be like, okay, you're nothing compared to this company. Like,
You know
like,
who does call them out on that is NGOs. And that's the only time that I agree with folks like Beyond Plastics is when they call out big brands for saying that they're going to do something and then not following through. And let me be clear. There are some big brands that actually live this and actually do it. And they are making the conscious decision to pay more because they know it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Other brands are just not there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to throw out names or whatever.
Well, you could shout out the ones that do.
Well, you got, like, let's just look. You talked Lego earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They're living this. Like, they are investing highly in reducing carbon footprint. They are putting their money where their mouth is. There are other brands that do that. Very few.
That, like, is Lego vocal about that?
Yes. It's all over their website.
Do you think that changes the brand to the customers of Lego? Because
I think
for
it depends
me,
on the customer base.
like, if it was, well, I don't want to say any name. I don't know. A random freaking brand, like we talked about Logan Paul's, like, Prime drink. If it was that, I have no idea. I'm not a Logan Paul girl.
If you look at the statistics, 71% of Americans say they make buying decisions based on the recyclability or sustainability of a product.
Because that's what I was going to ask. Because I don't know. Again, using him as an example, I've never been to the website, but I don't know if it says anything about being recycled. But I'm wondering if, for example, if they tested adding something to their site for 6 months, would their sales increase? And that's, like, genuine. Like, I do wonder, like, do consumers care?
That's a good question.
Because personally,
Because I think that 71% is overinflated. I don't think, I think maybe 1/2 to 1/3 of that number is more realistic. Because I think everybody's
that's
virtue
high.
signaling.
Because I don't, personally, I probably should. Now I will. I just, like, buy stuff that I like.
Not
the
paying
only thing
attention
that,
to the
I've
packaging.
always noticed, because I'm looking at it so often, is that my Visa is made of recycled plastic.
Well, there you go.
So I guess, and I'm always like that always. But now I guess working in the industry, I do notice it more now. Like I mean, I'm not the kind of person who, like, I'll drink any water bottle brand. I don't really care. Like, all water pretty much tastes the same. But I will notice if it says, like, made from, like, this plastic has been used however many times, or, like, this is whatever. And I'll be like, oh, like, I'm like, cool. But I feel like a normal person who's just working, like, a job, like me 2 years ago. Like, again, a lot of people who I've told about my job or what the industry I'm in, 99% of the time, they're like, I've never heard of that. I never thought about where, like, I just recycled and I never thought about it again. So it just does make me wonder when these brands are doing the right thing. One, are they doing the right thing because they want to help out the small businesses? Or two, are they doing the right thing because they get to plaster it on their website, which they hope drives up sales?
Second. It's the second.
Right. So, but then again, the question stands, does it actually drive up sales? Like, do people, because Lego is like the biggest toy company in the world. So it's like, I think that people are going to buy Legos whether they're from recycled plastic or not. Legos are Legos. They're going to build, they're going to click. Doesn't matter where they came from.
Yeah. And that's
You
true.
know?
And I think that's why Lego is an even better example of what I'm talking about, because that demand, to use economic terms, is inelastic. It's not going anywhere. People are going to buy Legos
Forever.
because they love Legos.
Right.
Lego's doing this because they truly believe in this.
Okay. So I guess that answers one of the questions is why are they doing it? But I guess other brands, it's just a nice stamp on the website.
Yeah.
Which I guess could.
Virtue signaling, greenwashing
Let me
at the
ask
highest
this, and
order.
if it's a stupid question, you might have to edit it out.
What's that? You're asking a question that you think might be stupid right now, or what we're talking about?
No, what I'm about to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think that whether, like with Lego, I guess, does it change the cost of their product, whether or not they're doing this or not? It does.
Yeah.
Does it make it more because they're losing money doing?
It doesn't. They're not going to charge more for it. I don't
That's
think.
my
I don't know. I don't talk to Lego, but I guarantee you, buying.
Let me just text them and ask them.
Like I don't have friends there or anything.
That's my question. That you wouldn't think so, but it makes me wonder. Like, yeah, we're recycling. This is made from recycled, but you're gonna have to pay $2.99 more for this Lego set than you would if we just did it how we did it before.
And from my understanding, and we'll just put it this way, we're probably gonna have to cut it out anyway. Just because I don't really know, but from my understanding, all of the sustainable products that they're buying are more expensive.
Right.
And yet they are not raising the price to the consumers. I think, and
but
this
then
is
it's like,
a
are
thing.
they lowering other costs?
No, they're eating it.
Oh, well,
that's my understanding.
I mean, Lego can.
Yeah. I don't know if that's fact, though, so I'm
struggling.
going to have to double check that before we actually keep it in the episode, because I don't know.
I don't know either. Well,
I know
is just
enough
convo.
about Lego
We're
to be
just
dangerous.
guessing on why some companies would do it and some wouldn't. I mean, I guess some people care if it's stamped on that this is from recycled. Can't they just lie?
They can. That's the whole greenwashing thing.
Yeah, like can't they just say
That's like all this stuff they're getting
recycling?
from Asia that says 100% PCR. The stuff looks like perfect, brand new, off the production line virgin material, because that's probably what it is. We need to be supporting domestic
the
recyclers.
answer to why is just a little selfish. I feel like that's the answer.
Yeah, I think
Or it's just they just think more so in like, you know, when people are like, it's not personal, it's business.
Yeah, I hate that.
feel like they're speaking like that.
Yeah.
Like they're like, it's not personal, it's just not a smart business decision for us.
And honestly, it isn't.
No, it's not. So it's like, you're kind of like, well, they don't have, like, it doesn't help them in any capacity. Like, it might help somebody else. But again, like, why do they care about help? Like, why do they, it's not making their sales drive up. Again, maybe it would, because then they would have that stamped, actual, truthful, like, we recycle from small businesses, blah, blah, blah. So maybe it would. But at the end of the day, like you said, like, not fact, but it's a possibility that at the end of the day, they're just eating up the cost just to, like, do somebody else a favor so their plant doesn't close.
We should probably, this whole conversation, we should probably get a marketing expert from packaging to come on here one day and to ask them, like, have you done double-blind studies with the public where you've just watched them at your store to see if they actually grabbed one product over the other because it's got 100% recycled content or whatever? I doubt it. I doubt that makes a difference.
Do you think that, because, again, this also might be a silly question, but we're just going to spitball everything because it's interesting. Do you think that just normal customers of, again, we're just using Lego as the conversation piece, but any manufacturer that's selling whatever, do you think that if like you just said, like a study of someone going into a store and maybe there's the same Lego spooky house set, and one of them said recycled and the other didn't, and they were the same price, like literally, do you think that the customer might think that's because it's from used plastic that it wouldn't perform the same as one that had virgin plastic in it?
It's a good question.
Because I'm not going to lie, like, if I saw something that pretty much, like, obviously I don't think it is, because like this is a professional company, like they know what they're doing. I don't think your Lego is not going to snap because it's used plastic that's been used
it's
before.
Important, right?
But somebody else who like doesn't really know the process might be like, this isn't like new plastic, like I'm not going to get something that might malfunction.
I don't know if they've looked at it. I can tell you. I
wonder if that goes through somebody's head if they see recycled and then they see brand new. They're like, well, I don't really want
lower quality.
Lower quality.
Yeah.
Plastic.
It's
because
possible.
It's like not new.
Hey, another good reason to have a marketer on here, like somebody that we can actually talk through all this stuff. Point. But I think if you were to ask the average American about recycled content in Legos, they probably don't even think about the fact that it's plastic when they're buying it. They probably don't think about any of that. That's not just common things. Like, you want to see something that'll drive you insane? Go into a grocery store with me at any point and look at all the packages and figure out what they're made of, whether or not it's going to be recyclable.
No, Mitchell does that.
Yeah, and I'm like the one person that actually
something
cares.
Out of a container, and he's like, "What is this?" And he like covers it, and I'm like, "Can't we just snack in peace?"
So, the local Harris Teeter here went to these molded fiber little tubs, and they used to be.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
They used to be PET, and these molded fiber tubs are the worst packaging design in the history of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because they're not plastic, that has nothing to do with it. It's just a poor performing product.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably costs 3 times as much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went up to the store manager the other day. I was like,
he has control
hate
of the
these.
container.
Can you go back to the other ones, please? I don't like buying those kind of packages anyway, because that's just waste, and we don't need more waste.
Right.
We shouldn't be buying that kind of crap to begin with if we really want to reduce the amount of waste and recycling that needs to happen and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do want to get something, like I'm going on a road trip or something, I need something for inside the truck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to buy that because the thing is going to fail halfway through my trip. It's just garbage.
Right.
And so to your point.
Well, if you think about like straws too, like anybody who tries to replace a plastic straw, they suck.
I hate all straws, but paper straws, I just don't understand.
Yeah, but anyway, to your point.
Yeah.
I was just saying,
to answer the question though, do people actually pay attention, or do people care? I don't think so.
Yeah. Unless, I guess you're right. Like when you're going to the Lego store, you're not like really thinking about the plastic. Like what? You're just buying Legos. It's not that deep.
I think there's a small subset of the American population that really cares. And those are great. We want to cultivate those people. We want those people to make environmentally conscious choices. We want them to keep doing it. Those are the people that compost. Those are the people that are constantly recycling. And then there's the middle majority that can take it or leave it. They'll do it every once in a while, but they won't do it always. And then there's the obstinate group on the other end that thinks it's all a waste of time, and they just want to continue driving Hummers and polluting and whatever else. Mm-hmm. And so I think that most people don't really care. And I may be wrong. Once again, maybe that's why we should have the marketer on here, because they could tell us. But I think whenever you ask people, like if I was to stop you in a group of 10 and you were in a focus group, and I was to ask you, do you care about recycling? And the first 4 people said, yes, huge deal. And you personally think it's a waste of time. When it gets around to you, are you going to say it's a waste of time after you just heard those 4 people before you?
No, it would probably have to be like an anonymous thing.
And that's the thing. I don't know how this stuff is studied or where it comes from.
I wonder if we should look into that if there is. I'm sure there's been case studies where they put cameras in a store and they put like this.
There has to be.
Because they've done that so many times with other things. Like they'll I can't put an example on it now, but I've seen things where it's like they'll grab this because of something that catches your eye. You know, that's a huge thing. It's like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's very like that's so. I feel like also though that how you mentioned that container is a lot of the time when people think about plastic, like I don't know, I'm thinking maybe something that sits and can get wet often, like a shampoo bottle that you're constantly getting wet and is sitting there for, I don't know, however. Mine lasts, I don't wash my hair often, so it's going to be like probably 3 months. Spoiler.
Yeah.
Anyway, you like when I'm at the store and I'm going to buy my shampoo, I'm going to like if I see something that's like trying to steer clear of plastic, whatever, save plastic, I'm like, this is going to
It's going to fail.
It's going to fail. Like it's going to be sitting there and I'm going to buy something that's easiest for me. That's going to make my life the easiest, whether or not it's doing good for the environment. If I'm honest, like I'm not going to spend money, which like you said, it's probably a little more expensive for something to fail. And that's always what I wonder too, is like back to the straws. What's the cost to the restaurant?
It's more expensive.
Right. And then you're using more because I'm sitting at the bar and I've gone through 4 paper straws with 1 Aperol Spritz because they're sogging up. So
I don't even know what that is, but it does not sound appealing.
An Aperol Spritz?
I have no idea what that is.
It's a little club soda, a little bit of Aperol, and a little bit of Prosecco.
I couldn't even tell you what Aperol is. I used to be a bartender for a long time. I have no idea what that is.
It's quite bitter. But anyway, what I'm saying is that you would sit and have I don't know, do you like a margarita? What's your...
I haven't had alcohol in like
Okay, you're sipping on a
7
Diet
years.
Coke at a bar
with
your straw, with 1 plastic straw, but they're trying to save the environment by buying more expensive paper ones, and then you as one customer are using 5.
Yeah.
So like the logic here is...
let's take that same thought process. Going from expanded polystyrene coffee cups to paper cups because it's recyclable.
Mm-hmm.
EPS cups are recyclable too. And we're doing that and we're trying to expand it. But anyway, you know what product didn't exist when we had foam? You know those little
Yeah, now I know what you're talking about.
ring things that go around the coffee cup? You know how many of those we use every year? You know how many times I get a cup, or if I go to Starbucks and I don't have like a reusable one that I take in, which if I do, that's what I'm doing. I don't typically go to Starbucks, but you know how many times, like if I'm out on the road, I get a coffee cup in a coffee cup with a ring. Way worse than 1 EPS coffee cup.
Right.
So it's the same logic. We're trying to do the sustainable thing, but then we end up using 3 times as much material. That's all going to end up in a landfill anyway.
Money.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
But isn't that kind of why the big brands aren't doing it?
Yeah, maybe. But then let's stop talking about it. Let's stop talking about banning products if we're not truly serious about recycling this stuff. That's where I get angry. And I'm like, everybody's talking about, we want more and more and more post-consumer recycled material in our packaging. I'm like, okay, great. Let's do that. Let's recycle more. Let's use more of it. But then when it comes down to it and I say it's going to cost 1 penny more than what you're paying for right now, nope, not going to do that. And not only is it going to be 1 penny more, I have to buy this stuff multiple years in advance so that way I can keep that recycler operating. Because right now they can't reinvest because they don't know if they're going to have demand 6 months from now. Right. And they're going to say, nope, don't want that. And that's the friggin' problem. I almost that is
an F-bomb there.
Yeah, this is how serious I get about this because
no, I mean, I get that.
There's a lot of talk. There's not a lot of action.
Yeah. And have you noticed that, is it like, has progressively gotten worse?
No.
Or have
I
you
think
noticed
this has
that
always
with
been
the
the case.
market shifts, it's kind of always kind of been like that?
I
Like
think
it depends how the market is with how the brands are behaving or
when the market's
brands'
booming,
decisions.
people are more likely to invest in these kind of projects. Because like right now,
which makes sense.
they're all dying. Like all these
Mhm.
projects are going away because they're not economically as appealing as they once were.
So when you mentioned like having a contract with a big brand, are prices in that contract? Or
There's
is
got to
it
be some kind of a floor mechanism.
okay?
So let's just play an example here. Let's say Direct Polymers
Mm-hmm.
wants to go start collecting, I don't know, cardboard. We'll even talk cardboard. We won't even talk about plastic. For Georgia Pacific,
Okay.
because they're a paper, cardboard manufacturer or whatever. They make paper cups. They make a lot of different stuff. In the 90s and early 2000s, the paper industry realized they were in trouble. They were going to get banned out of existence because everybody was worried about the rainforests going away. And so they invested a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort to change the narrative around their products. And they realized the only way people were going to recycle more paper or cardboard in this case, or OCC, or old corrugated containers, all the same thing that I'm talking about here. They would have to guarantee that recycler that material was going to be purchased at enough of a price point that they were going to make enough margin to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the market went up, you have
So
to
it
pay
could
more.
change, right?
But when it gets down low, you have to pay at least the minimum just to keep them operating.
Mm-hmm.
And they did 25-year contracts. And that's why that system works today. It didn't work for a long time, but it does now. That's the kind of stuff that we have to do. But we need the brands to be involved because let's just say a resin manufacturer wants to start blending in PCR content. They go to Direct Polymers and they say, I want you to collect 4 rail cars a month of PCR. I don't care where you get it, just make sure it hits this spec. So then Direct Polymers goes out and finds 4 rail cars per month worth of material to match that demand. They're going to have to contract with the source. When you get that material, you go through all the process, we make the blended product, it gets to the resin producer, they go to sell it to the brand, and the brand's like, well, virgin prices went down, so we're not going to go forward with this project anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What does everybody do at that point? And that's when people go bankrupt. And that's what's happening over and over and over again.
Did they have, in that scenario, did they have a contract?
You never get a contract with the big brands because they're
So
not
they
not
can just
actually
do that?
supporting the system. And I'm going to get in trouble with saying a lot of this stuff with some of these brands. I don't care.
Well, you're not
I know, but
dropping.
honestly, big consumer packaging good companies need to own this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people saying that they're going to do it. And then when it comes down to it, they don't do it. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're going to do it or you're not. Either you're going to support the industry and help these people survive and give them long-term contracts, or you don't care.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost worse to commit and then drop out than just saying
Yes.
I'm not going to do it.
Especially for small companies.
Like, just say no.
Yeah.
I'd rather say no than
Don't
do all
talk.
the work of getting the
Yeah.
rail cars, and then you're like, no. And you're like, what? It almost
I've
feels
worked
like a
on
little
projects
tease.
for 2+ years for brands and then have it just fall apart in the last hurdle.
That's super frustrating.
Happens all the
Yeah.
time. You know how
Wow.
many recyclers I can talk to that'll tell you the exact same story?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah,
constant.
that's really
but those guys don't
unfortunate.
want to throw shade at the big brands because they're worried because they need to curry favor.
And the big brands are bigger than all of them.
Yeah, and I don't
So no
care.
matter, like I said earlier, no, I mean, like, they don't care if they disappoint you because
Yeah.
you're not going to end them.
Yeah, nobody
know?
cares.
So it's like you can, not you specifically, but the person who got screwed over in the deal or the facility got screwed over, they can be like, oh, they did this. Like, okay, they're still going to, like, there's not that you're one of a million probably who doesn't like that brand. So it's like, who cares? They don't care. No one, like, people might care, but a lot of times they're like, okay, great. They effed you over. Well, I'm still going to buy their shampoo
Yeah.
or I'm still going to buy this. Like they don't really, their Legos, I'm still going to buy whatever it is that they are doing. But a lot of times they just.
Shampoo. We'll just run down your example there.
Okay.
If whoever a big shampoo company is comes to their packaging company and say, I'm going to make every one of my bottles 100% HDPE recycled content.
Mm-hmm.
You know how quickly the demand would be lined out if there was a contract behind that saying, I'm going to buy it for the next 20 years. And then that packaging company has to go talk to recyclers and say, I need you to get every pound of this stuff that you can. You know how much material would get diverted from a landfill if that happened? How impactful that would be if people actually committed to this instead of saying they commit to it. Because if there's an economic driver, if there is commitment, people are going to invest. People are going to invest to go find that stuff.
Right.
Without it, they're not going to.
Is there
It's
any
just the
case where
same argument for 30 years.
Is there proof to back that up?
Yeah.
Have you had a
Paper
brand
industry.
Okay.
Just point at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened. Honestly, I've been saying for a while, plastics is under the same amount of pressure right now that paper was 30 years ago. Paper came together as an industry. They invested time, money, and effort to solve their problem. Plastics has to do the same. And if we don't, and that goes all the way to the brands, if we don't, it's just going to keep going the same direction it's going. And we're never going to get better at recycling plastics in this country. So you can't have it both ways. You got to commit to pay for it. You got to commit for it to be an end market because we can't ship this stuff to China. National sword, you can't ship it to Malaysia. If you look at the Basel Convention, there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't, even if the U.S. didn't sign up. We can't ship our waste overseas, and we shouldn't be. We should be reusing this stuff, but we need somebody to buy it. We need somebody to commit to buy it. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of time, money, and effort, which is why, back to the EPR discussion, if California collects 3 times as much plastics next year as it does this year, but there's not 3 times as many people willing to buy, what are we going to do with all that plastic you just collected?
Right.
Or paper or glass. Just in general. Recycling works if people pay for the recycled content at the back end. It doesn't work unless you commit for it. Simple facts.
Well,
and I can get pretty animated about this stuff.
No, I mean, it's passionate.
I live
think
it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think, though, the why is kind of like up in the air. But I think we did get a lot of whys, possible whys.
Yeah.
You know? And it's interesting. I would love to do a little research on if there are any case studies done. That would be interesting. That's something we'll have to look into.
I got a couple marketers in mind that we can talk to.
That would be interesting.
See if I can convince their company to let them talk openly.
You should just have the black screen and then change their voice.
Change their voice.
That would be drama.
Yeah. It's like, and in witness protection program, our guest. Yeah. Honestly,
and they would really speak the truth.
I think just to put a bow on this whole topic, not a lot of people are going to call out the big brands and the CPGs because they need their business. If you're a virgin resin manufacturer or paper manufacturer or whatever, they drive the economy. And if you're not nice to them or tell them that everything they do is wonderful, you're worried that you're going to lose business. Just, I'll throw, this isn't a brand, but like Walmart. The amount of people that will do anything Walmart tells them to do because of how big Walmart is and how much money flows through there, they will do and jump through every hoop that Walmart puts in front of them. They wouldn't do that for guy down the street. But
Right.
they're going to do it for Walmart.
Well, yeah.
So people are worried about calling out brands.
Mhm.
And I get it. I completely get it.
They have a lot
Luckily,
of power.
I'm not selling them anything, so I can say what I want.
Yeah.
And people, and I'd love to talk to other people about it that maybe would disagree with everything that we talked about here, but I would love for somebody to tell me how I'm wrong. And then we can have a real discussion about solving this problem.
I
Because
feel
it
like
is
I
a problem.
challenged you a little bit on some points.
Yeah.
It's not because of my beliefs, because I want to keep this interesting.
I like playing the devil's advocate. That's
Yeah.
typically my job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So what about our 2 truths
Oh,
and
yeah.
a lie?
Should I read them one more time in case
Yeah.
they
Read them
were
one more
missed?
time and then let's talk about the one that's.
Okay. So, by the way, everybody, we were using Lego as an example. We have no affiliation with the brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Side
know
note.
anybody there. I'm not helpful in any way, shape, or
But
form.
Lego,
It just came up multiple
if
times.
you need any plastic.
Yeah. If you need recycled plastic, reach
Yeah.
out to Brave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 3 facts. One of them is a lie. Number 1, Lego announced they're ditching their recycled PET brick prototype, saying it actually had a higher carbon footprint than their current oil-based ABS bricks. Secondly, Beyonce just became the first female artist to have a number 1 album in the U.S. in 5 consecutive decades from the 90s through the 2020s. Last, NASA recently confirmed that asteroid Bennu contains high concentrations of gold, making it one of the most valuable space samples ever collected.
I think it's the NASA thing. That's my guess.
Do you want to guess what the lie, why is that a lie? What's the lie?
It's not gold. It's something else that
What
they
is
found
it
on.
then? Just kidding.
I don't know,
I won't do
platinum.
that to you. No. It is a lie, and the samples just contain water and carbon. No gold.
Water and carbon, huh?
But that's like I wouldn't believe that for sure. You could have told me that. I believe anything.
But the 5 decades thing, that's kind of catching me off guard because that would make it seem like Beyonce's 70 right now.
Okay,
If I
let's
think
see.
about it logically, it's like 5 decades, 50 years. Like she's not even 50. How does that work? But then you think 99 maybe, and then 2021 would be another decade. And I don't know.
Hold on, I want to see something quickly.
And then I already know about the other one.
Okay.
They were pretty public about the fact they were ditching the PET brick.
5 consecutive decades. So technically it was 23, 6, 8, 11, 13, 16, 22, 24.
Pretty impressive.
So not 90s, I guess.
don't like any of that music, but
But
I'm
good
not
for
her
her. Go
target
her.
dynamic or target audience.
We have better things to talk about than Beyonce.
Yeah, I'm
girl.
listening to classic rock. I'm like the oldest
I'm not a Beyonce
millennial
girl.
ever.
But yeah,
you
we'll
wanna-
do those all the time.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. And
Well, honestly, this was a good discussion.
you think so?
It's always interesting when the two of us get together and we talk about whatever the heck we want to talk about. Because honestly,
This one was a little challenging for me. At
Yeah.
the beginning, I started getting thinking a little harder, I feel like, as we went on.
I think
At
the
the
next
beginning, I was
one.
very lost on how I didn't know the answer.
Well, I don't think anybody really knows the answers to any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. It's like the more you talk to people and the more you're around other recyclers and you hear the struggles that they're having and what they need in order to solve it, the more you'll make up your mind on kind of what's the right thing to do here.
Mm-hmm. But
And that's
yeah,
the only
this
way to
was
do
good.
this. And so we'll continue to do this. We'll go through the list of questions. We will definitely not take the advice from the one guy that thought he knew better than everybody else. But anyway, I want you to do the outro. So this is all you. This is Sam's episode today.
Okay, guys, this has been the Redefining Plastics Podcast with Samantha Ryan and Justin Riney. Tune in, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. And we have a lot of really exciting things coming up we're going to talk about, and the podcast is going to be a little different and hopefully in the best way. So have a great rest of your evening or your morning or whenever you're listening to this, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Perfect. If you want to learn more about the plastics industry, recycling, check out these other videos. Please like and subscribe.